Yes, everyone, what's going on? This is Stretford Paddock. My name is Stephen Howson, and I am joined today by Joe, and we are going to be doing a quick little Q&A session, talking a little bit about the news. So it's going to be a bit of a podcaster kind of format. We are literally having a... it's kind of warmish, I guess. Warmish. Yeah, because we've not only been waiting here for hours to get this going. But we're going to have a brew, and we're going to talk about the topics that's going on with United at the moment. And we're going to have a little bit of a Q&A, and we're going to make it a little bit more informal than some of the videos that are on Stretford Paddock, because they're all a little bit serious-ish.
Quite serious, aren't we?
Serious-ish.
Serious-ish.
Professional
is the word I like to use.
Not a bad word. Professional. So thank you everybody for joining us. Make sure to give it a like and also subscribe if you're new around here as well. We're pretty close to 15,000, which inside of like 3 months, pretty impressed with that.
What is it?
Pretty impressed with that. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing really well.
Someone just put a load of crucifixes in the comments, which I thought they scare him still.
They still scare me.
They still scare him. They still make him nervous.
PTSD.
Let's not be nasty about that one. So like I said, it's going to be a little bit more of an informal one. So we've got, it's just absolutely filled up with crucifixes now. George in the comments says, I remember when Steve was saying, look out for Maguire links in the media before there was even any links. I know, listen, Patreon, massive. I do apologise. The Patreon podcast has been planned for several times and not been followed through, but it will happen tomorrow. I promise you, or I will quit YouTube forever. And not in the way that some of those weirdos quit YouTube and then come back 3 days later. I'll proper quit and fuck off. Can't wait to die. Right, anyway, let's get stuck into it. And unlike Jesus, I probably won't come back to life.
No.
And I reckon that story was bullshit as well.
What, Jesus coming back to life?
Yeah.
I reckon he tried his best.
I reckon he had a right sesh, and someone went, he's dead.
He's dead, it is. Where's Jesus gone?
He had a bit of an hangover, and then he sorted it out.
I think he's in that cave there.
Had a fry up.
Yeah.
Laughing.
That's what it was.
Right then, so obviously tomorrow United play against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's hometown club, Kristiansunds in Oslo tomorrow, 6 p.m. kickoff. Come and join us on Stretford Paddock. We will be doing a watch-along. Penultimate game of pre-season. Been all right, hasn't it?
It has been all right. It seems it's slightly not disappointing because I think it's good to do a bit of Solskjaer stuff, but we've sort of built up a kind of Leeds. Who was it after Leeds?
The other lot.
Yeah. Then
Inter Milan. I mean, to be fair, Leeds to Inter Milan. It's a little bit of a jump.
It's a bit of a jump. And then Tottenham playing a Premier League side. I enjoyed that. And then now it's sort of back down to sort of Perth glory levels again. And it's a strange.
I don't actually know.
No, I don't know how good they are.
I barely know how good Mulder are.
No.
So a team that comes 7th, 8th
in the league below that.
Name the league.
It's got the word Syria in it.
Is it Elite Syrian?
Something like that. That sounds good.
I think that's what it's called. Elite Syrian.
Sounds pretty good.
I've probably butchered that. But it is something like along the lines of Elite Syrian.
Yeah, I think. It'll be good to get. I think it's just going to be a lot of youth players doing this like 60 minutes of the first 11 thing. What's that going to be like against them? It's hard to tell really, and it's not much of a. It's more of just a training session almost.
We took 26 men.
Yeah, it's full squad, except of course.
The obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely didn't expect those to be going. I really didn't expect either of those lot to be going. But he's took 26 men, which means that he can definitely play the 2 11s if he fancies doing that. But he's also got, 4 subs too, if he fancies it.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to see what sort of 11 he puts out. But it's still a glorified training session. It should be treated like that, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Training session with fans.
Yeah, which is kind of the whole point of it, isn't it? Like we were saying before, Solskjaer's son might get a game. It's definitely got like a sort of family barbecue feel to it, and it like let the kids have a game.
Yeah, you want Fergie there with a whiskey, turning the sausages and having a look over at what's happening over the other side.
Fergie's definitely grill master at the Man United barbecue.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Mike Phelan bringing him like trays of burgers,
and he's got his own apron with Sir Alex on it, and he's an underline underneath the Sir.
And then it's like a woman in a bikini. And he loves the joke every time. It's hilarious every time.
Like, I got boobs.
Look at this.
But I'm a Sir, you better call me that as well.
Respect me.
Yeah, or I'll fuck you up.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, so we're playing there tomorrow. The news of today is Harry Maguire's missed training, and Leicester have come out and gone, oh, he's ill. And everyone has gone, fucking is he?
Yeah, I think he's got the same
like
injury
Lukaku.
Lukaku's got. Yeah, definitely. I think it's a sort of a one-to-way illness rather than... They're not going to say anything else, are they? What are they going to say?
You can't come out and say anything, can you?
We've lost him. We don't know where he is. He's gone.
Yeah, it's not a set of car keys, my mate.
No, exactly,
what are you talking about? Get your questions in because we'll be coming to the comments and stuff a little bit later on as well. So, get good questions in. Don't just put like, who are we going to sign next? Because the answer is, fuck knows, to be honest.
Do you reckon then that is because we're signing him in missing training? Or?
Yeah, I think if I had to put my balls on the line, I would say I think we'll sign Maguire, and I reckon there's half a chance we'd probably bring in Longstaff as well.
Yeah.
And I reckon that'll be it.
I do as well. We were saying before on tour, weren't we? We were saying, what do you think the chance... This is when like the Fernandes stuff was at its peak in terms of reliable people reporting on it. There was talk of all sorts of other people then. And we were saying, I reckon it might just be Maguire, if that, and that's kind of it. Like,
I think...
This is what happened last season. We got Fred in, and everyone thought this will be the start of us getting a few players in, and then we just went, Lee Grant, fancy a bit of that? And that's it.
It's very similar. Like, I was chatting to someone this morning just on the phone, and it's like they went to him, right, if you could sign any position in the world, what would you have? And he's gone, we need a right back, well back. Yeah. And they've gone, right, well, there's your right back.
Great answer.
And he's gone, and they'd be like, you got the right back. Just one player. Just relax, yeah. It was like, if you could have any one player, who would you have? And he's gone, let's get one second.
Start with the right back.
Okay.
I'll start with there. That'll do you. You'll have your right back and that'll do you.
We'll get you a right back. You'll enjoy it.
Like if you put together these two transfers, obviously did we get anyone in January?
No.
If you put these two together.
Lost Fellaini.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was a plus.
Yeah, but it's still a man though, isn't it? It's still a member of the squad.
A man.
He's a big man. But if you put together these two transfer windows, what we spent like 120 million?
No, we actually, I mean, the grand scheme of things, we've spent a lot, but we have also been outspent by people getting promoted to the Premier League.
I think
we need to spend.
Yeah, exactly. Wolves spent more than we've spent in the last 3 windows. Last window, I think they spent 125 million or something, didn't they? And 50 million on Fred, 20 million on Dallo, 15 and 50. So it's about 125, 130 million.
The bottom line is, it's not necessarily about the spend, it's about what each signing represents.
Yeah.
Because you can pick up a free transfer Zlatan.
Yeah, definitely.
How
many first-team players have been brought in?
That's the point I was fucking dancing around. How many first-choice players did we sign last summer? None. No. Fred never made himself first choice. Dalot never made himself first choice, despite...
And he was never meant to be.
30-odd-year-old winger in his way.
Yeah, that's true.
Wan-Bissaka is an absolute first choice. Definitely. First 11 player. We needed more of those. Arguably, you can make a case, and I'm sure people can make a case for 10, but you can make a very strong case for 5.
Yeah, certainly 3 we need this time. We need a right winger, we need a central midfielder, we need a centre-back on top of what we've already got. Obviously, if Lukaku goes, we need a striker.
Probably need another striker, because as much as I'm a big fan of Martial and a big fan of Marcus Rashford, I think they've both got limitations, but they've both got some seriously elite attributes. Yeah. Between the two of them, you'd probably have one fantastic striker. Yeah. You know, if Martial had Marcus's work rate, you've got a real player. If Marcus had Martial's finishing, you've got a fucking absolute phenom. Yeah. Neither of them are the complete package. No. They're probably not good enough to be relied upon. I mean, like, I spoke to Marcus's family and I was like, what do you reckon as a target? And he said, not really spoken to him about it. I think the club might have done. You should be thinking of somewhere around 20 goals.
It's got to be 20, hasn't it, now? Yeah. Well, like, one of them's got to start hitting 20 consistently, especially if Lukaku's going. Like, last year, he had a failure of a season and still got 17. Yeah,
but who's going to get those 20 goals? Because as a target, he's never hit that before. No. And that was Tony. No. So it's a case of, like, we're looking at one of them's got to break out and have their best ever season to be just about good enough.
Yeah. Well, if you look at, like, I think, was it Liverpool had at least 2 players got 20 last season. Did Firmino get 20? Obviously, Salah and Mane both did.
I don't know what he got.
Aguero, Sterling, both of them did, at least. I think maybe even someone else. You know, all the top teams, you have 2 players that get 20 goals, or 1 player that gets 40 goals, but we haven't got anyone that's going to do that. We need 2. Pogba can maybe get 20 goals.
No, Mason Greenwood's like 36, 37 next year.
Yeah, exactly. He's not 40.
Yeah, he's not 40. Wait till he's 20.
Yeah, give him 6 months or so, yeah. But we don't have anyone that's hit. If Lukaku leaves, no one in our team has ever scored 20 goals in a season.
Or 27 and he was still a failure.
Yeah, exactly. So if Lukaku goes, then we need 2 players that can score 20, not 1. And that's a real issue, isn't it? Like, obviously, you've got to hope one of Martial or Rashford will step up. But relying on both of them to do that just seems like a recipe for failure for me.
I mean, I'm I've joked around quite a bit about what Greenwood can come in and do.
Yeah.
But can Greenwood come in and can he get 7 or 8?
Yeah.
Because that's going to help us.
That will definitely.
That's going to help us win games.
Yeah.
I think it's going to depend on. Like me and Adam did a warm down, which will be going up on my channel very soon. And we was talking about, would you like to see the youth played? Can you imagine United went, fuck it, here's the policy for this season. At least until, like, if we get there quarter semi-time, we're going to make it an under-23 competition.
What, the Europa League?
Yeah, can you imagine? Because you could put Joel Pereira, you could still play Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
But you could go, let's just try and think of a team here now. So if we went...
Wan-Bissaka.
You're going to struggle for another centre-half. But if you went... Yeah, Wan-Bissaka, Axel, say Demi Mitchell, left-back... You are going to struggle for another centre half, so you might have to bring in like Phil Jones or something for that.
Someone who's not getting, maybe Rojo, someone who's not going to get games necessarily first team.
Rojo leading them out as captain. And then you could play like Garner, Levitt. You could probably play Angel Gomez, McTominay. You could probably still play Rashford, Pereira, Marshall. Just about make that cut, I think. So you could put a pretty decent team out, but just in your head, just go. We're giving Pogba and Lindelof and De Gea the night off here.
But that seems like one of those things to me that becomes a sponsorship nightmare, where all of a sudden you hear Adidas are furious that United aren't playing Pogba, Nike are furious that United aren't playing Marshall, whoever it is. When a manager comes out and says we're not taking this, because that's what it'll be read as, isn't it? It'll be read as United aren't taking the Europa League seriously.
Yeah, I mean, someone clever at the club has got to spin that in a way of United are found on European football, the Busby Babes. That's how you do it.
Promoting our club's style of play and the philosophy of the club.
Youth, courage and thingy is our little motto for the season. So you go, we're showing these lads out to be brave. And especially because you say if you put in a forward line that's got Angel Gomez, Chong, Mason and Rashford, it's probably going to score a load of goals, especially against some of the weaker opposition. And then you're justified. And then you've also rested your Mata and your Pogba and everybody for the first team games. And I think... if I'm the club, that is the very smart way to get the fans on board at Old Trafford, because we go into that game going...
Is Pogba going to get injured? When we're playing RB...
But then when he goes, the average age of the squad's 20, you go, oh, shit.
Yeah, exactly. Because if someone gets a hat-trick or something in one of those games or something like that, all of a sudden, that's a huge bit of just excitement that you would never get otherwise.
You see Angel Gomez, absolutely, because he's got the ability to absolutely dominate a game of
especially
this
at home, I think.
Oh, my God.
In those home games, Europa League games at Old Trafford against the lesser sides, like I said, in the group stage and stuff, I think there's no reason why we can't field 7, 8, 9 young players and just sort of rotation players, like people like Matic even. Maybe if McTominay and Fred are starting as sort of holding players, get Matic in for that game.
Give the guy a rest. Because one thing that we're going to do with this team is that we're going to be doing a lot of pressing. We're going to be putting a hell of a lot of emphasis on running and hard work and all the rest of that sort of stuff. And you're going to need to rest players. So what perfect way to rest players and also bring in a level of competition for places that probably doesn't exist and certainly didn't, and not even close to existing under Jose.
No.
Then play. Can you imagine we have a great European night at Old Trafford on a Thursday. That involves Angel Gomez and Mason and Dylan Levitt and Ethan Laird, and you're like
how good was it at the end of the PSG game when we had it was Greenwood and
McTominay. I don't think Angel was on, but
Chong
Jimmy Garner.
I don't know if Garner was on. I think Chong was on, wasn't he?
Chong was on, yeah.
But, all them with that same feeling, but with less pressure. We're not going to the Champions League, obviously, but if we can get the most out of that by having exciting nights and young players playing, perfect.
That's it, because there's no Pogba beat LKZ Lodz, did he? Nice, right? But when you see it goes something like Dylan Levitt's played a ball over the top, Angel's got an end of it, crossed it for Mason, you're like, wow, man. This is exactly. And you can feel organically excited about that and justified in getting giddy about that, because it's not... of course, Pogba's meant to completely dominate LKZ Lodz, but when it's an 18, 19-year-old homegrown lad doing it, it feels like what Manchester United was brought up on.
I suppose the only downside is you do that against Olympiacos in the first game, or who are even less than that. If we lose, then all of a sudden the question marks are there. Why has he done that? But I guess it's the Europa League, isn't it? I mean, unless you win it, it doesn't matter for too much.
We're going to get into some questions pretty soon, so make sure you get your comments in for us, and I'll be going through some of those and reading those out in a little bit of a second. The other news that we've sort of touched on a little bit was one Bruno Fernandes was pictured crying after Sporting Lisbon's defeat to Valencia. I mean,
it took that hard,
didn't it?
It did,
in pre-season. Put your socks on.
We scored first as well.
Did we get to the end of it, of why he was crying? Was he crying? Was it hay fever? What was it? Did he get
no one knows,
deep in his eye and he's like, I'll be fucking touched.
Yeah, no one really knows what it was. It looked like he was upset to me.
I watched it and went, oh, he's definitely not.
Did he not?
No.
Yeah, it's one of them, innit? Who knows? Why was he rubbing his eyes so much? He knows what he's doing. I'd be like that. Just like looking at the camera.
Not as bad as Karius after the Champions League final for Liverpool. They're the most crocodile tears you will ever see in your life. I wish we had the ready stuff ready.
I think his tear ducts just broke when he got...
Nah, he was going, no tears. The driest face.
Was it?
Where was the final at the time? Was it Kiev, that?
Maybe. I don't know.
He had the driest eyes in that postcode.
Yeah.
Or the driest face. That wasn't a man crying. That was going... Please don't wreck my house. No, I know what yous are like.
I'm being robbed right now. Yeah, I think he was...
That was pathetic, by the way. I was watching that going, he's not even crying.
He don't mean it. He don't mean it.
He might start crying when he realises that he's definitely going to get burgled.
That was his last game for Liverpool, I think, wasn't it?
Was that actually his last game?
I believe so. I think he went to... Was it Besiktas he went to?
Come to Besiktas.
A Turkish team, I think.
Obviously, Uncle Pat... I don't know if he's in shot, actually. Yeah, he's just about in shot. Has officially retired, even though I'm pretty sure he retired a wee while ago.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time he played for anyone.
I mean, he was at West Ham temporarily, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But I don't think he played. I don't even know how many games he played for West Ham.
No, I don't.
I'm going to say it was not a lot.
No. It's good to have the official retirement, though. See all the... It'd be good for him as well. Imagine if you retired, seeing all them nice tributes and stuff. Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over 300 games for United, following his transfer from Monaco in January 2006. He won 1 Club World Cup, 1 Champions League, 5 Premier League titles, 3 League Cups, and 4 Community Shields, and everybody's heart in Manchester as well.
5 Premier Leagues. So, there's just so many players in that era.
Do you know what?
They've just got
That's
so many.
a lot of titles.
It's so many.
Except at United.
Has any team won that many Premier Leagues other than Man United?
How many have Chelsea won, Cam?
4 or 5?
Chelsea might have won 5, you know.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea have won 5. Cameron, how many have Chelsea won?
4 or 5, he's not sure.
Just a Chelsea fan who doesn't know how many titles they've won.
I don't know. But yeah, so there's so many players in that era that just have got as many or more Premier Leagues than any other club.
Paul Scholes got 10 titles.
I think it's 10. 9 or 10.
Ryan Giggs 13, obviously. And you think the average career at the top's about 10 years.
Yeah.
So you've essentially won a title.
If that, really.
And he didn't.
How many?
You've got 5. Chelsea won 5.
Yeah, so it's the same as any other team.
Did Terry or Lampard win 5 in that time?
Yeah.
They did. Was they there for all 5?
I think Terry was. Was he there for the last one? Conte? Yeah, he was, wasn't he? Yeah, so Terry won all 5. But yeah, it's just amazing, isn't it? And he was such a good player. Such a good player. People always talk about that Bayern Munich goal, which obviously was his best goal, but does no one remember what that game was, though? That was a horrible game, that.
There's about 20 seconds of
that was so exciting.
Shit, though.
It was a great, incredible goal.
Fantastic.
But he was just so good. So consistent, and the way he just would have the ball and he'd just sort of shuffle over the ball and run through players, and he'd just have the ball at the other side of him, like just tripping over it, but he always would keep the ball. Never seen anyone like it.
I loved Paddy Evra.
Yeah, me too.
I loved him. Jason Lee in the comments says, any rumours involving captaincy yet? I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I wonder why they've not come out and said. I think we're just going to...
Because it's going to be Ashley Young. I was going to say,
we're just going to slowly drift towards Young being captain first game of the season.
And probably not maybe give it an announcement, just be like...
Yeah. And
here's a new thingy sponsor, by the way, Ashley Young's captain.
Yeah, it'll just be team news and then a little C next to him.
Club, I hope it's not, because I hope Wan-Bissaka plays.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think, who do you think will be captain? Assuming Young isn't starting the games, who do you think will be captain in game?
I would make De Gea club captain, to be honest with you, and give him the armband for becoming club captain.
For games. I think the other choice would be Pogba.
Or Matter.
Or, yeah, Lindelof maybe as well.
I don't know about Lindelof yet. No. I think he had a good season, but let's not get carried away.
Yeah.
Jesus, bring us Bruno.
I'm trying my best. I've got some good contacts, but those Portuguese media...
I'll tell him, father.
They're difficult.
Nathan says, Steve, you could have had anyone realistic this window. Oh, if you could have had anyone, who do you want realistic talking? I wanted Koulibaly. He was the top of my list for a defender, and I probably wanted De Ligt ahead of Maguire.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm not upset with Maguire if that's what we get.
I think Maguire's a good player.
I still think we need more. I was talking about Ruben Neves before, and I was like, why haven't we gone for him? Or Idrissa Gueye, going for 28 million.
But it would have been 45 at least before. If people are talking 50 million for Longstaff, there's no way we would have got Gueye.
Well, you say people, me, Mark Ashley.
Yeah,
Mark Ashley's talking 50 million.
Yeah, and he doesn't know how to sell anything.
Sure,
does he?
Mate, your brews are like.
Yeah,
this mug would fit inside.
I have a bath in a Sports Direct mug. I'll just get in it and thrash around.
Do we think Greenwood is a lock for Chelsea? Says Aaron. I don't think so.
No, I don't. I thought he would be after the Inter game, but then not starting against Tottenham makes me think.
No, not really, because look at the back four that started against Tottenham.
Yeah, true.
Because if that starts against Chelsea, I might throw up.
We're struggling.
Not struggling. That's fucked up. That's fucked up if that's what starts.
Yeah.
What was it? Young, Smalling, Jones, Wan-Bissaka. Come on, man.
Yeah.
How are we going into the 2020 season?
No, Smalling, Rojo, Wan-Bissaka. I don't think Jones started.
That's better or worse.
Certainly more exciting. Actually, no, they're both equally exciting. Jones and Rojo. You never know what's going on with either of them. So I think it's definitely exciting.
Europa League might be the only way to get Champions League football. I don't think so, because I think Chelsea are in trouble this year.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal are a meltdown away.
Yeah, I mean, it could end up that way. Obviously, we've seen over the years United finishing sixth, but before the season starts, I don't think we should be saying that Europa League is the only way we can get Champions League football. Ozzy
saying Maguire, and that's it. I reckon they will not back him anymore. The money is not available until Pogba leaves. I think that's what's going on with Bruno.
Yeah, me too.
I think we're fucking sporting around.
As well.
Possibly, yeah. That makes a lot of sense to me, that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and do you know what? I'll hold my hands up here. Someone said, I've been saying all summer long, I don't see how you play a system that fits both Pogba and Bruno. And then someone says, well, you're playing Matteo with Pogba. And I was like, that's a very good point.
Well, we were talking, I think it was at the Leeds game. We noticed Pogba's sitting a lot deeper than he was last season. He's not playing that number 10 role. He's playing a central midfield role like he plays for France. A lot more disciplined, a lot more picking the ball up and making passes rather than trying to score goals all the time, which, who knows, taking our top goal scorer and putting him further back, is that a good idea? I don't know.
Ollie's holding his press conference right now. Sound. Cool. We'll bring you the notes on Stretford Paddock as soon as the quotes as soon as they're up. United now have to sell to buy, says Kyle.
How is that? We've seen so many reports on that talking about we can't get someone. I saw one today that we can't get Maguire until Lukaku's sold. How is that the case? Like we said before, we spent about 130 million in the last 3 transfer windows. Why haven't we got any money? We're the third most viable sports team in the world.
I think we all know.
We're always like a top team in terms of income and revenue and all that. Why can't we spend more than that?
United are a cabbage. Sorry, mates.
Okay.
A weird fruit. I was going to say fruit.
Veg.
Cabbage is definitely not a fruit.
No.
He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy, says Casey.
Bit cheeky.
Unless Shaw keels over and Young slips in at left back. Don't do it.
Which, I mean... we were saying this again before. Like, we all sort of forget we've got a right back and we bought 2 right backs in the last year. We've only got 1 left back, and we've really only got 1 left back.
I think Demi Mitchell may have a chance.
Potentially, but he hasn't featured in any way that would suggest that so far, has he?
Mitz, wise commenting when he's sitting 10 feet away, says, if we don't sign Messi and Ronaldo, do we delete the club?
It's a good point. It's a fair point.
I mean, yeah, obviously he's bang on. Our club is in a state or recovering. Our club is in state. I mean...
Let's make up a question based on some of the words used in that sentence, and we'll answer it.
Atletico sold a player called Antoine Griezmann. They did. If you sell 5 players... Oh, here's a good one. If you can sell 5 players, who's your 5 you're selling? All right, who's the other 4 apart from Ashley Young then? That you get
but why sell him, though? No point selling him, is there? I don't know. Okay, I'd sell 1 of... Maybe 2... Nah... Smalling, I'd probably sell Rojo because what's going on there?
Smalling, Jones, Rojo.
Yeah,
2 sling it.
Rojo and Jones.
Just 2 sling it.
Yeah,
2 of you just pack your shit. Do one.
I think in terms of getting money for anyone, we're going to struggle with that.
I think that is why.
Sanchez.
Would you get rid of him?
If it meant bringing someone else in, I would.
Well, he's on $500,000 a week ish.
Yeah,
so
it definitely frees up a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then maybe, I guess Lukaku because he wants to leave.
Can't we ask Sanchez to contribute to the signings?
Out his own pocket.
He was crying because he saw Woodward's bid. Would you have paid 25 million to get Toby Alderweireld? There must have been no interest from his side, which is backwards to what I'd heard last summer that he really wanted it.
But also, as every year goes by, he's getting a year older every time, isn't he? What is he, 30 now?
That does happen annually, yeah.
It tends to happen. I've noticed that with other humans and like life forms. As every year goes by, people get a year older, so it seems to have happened with him as well. But he's 30 now, is he? 29?
Yeah.
At some point, you're just getting...
But we do
need it now. We do need it now.
Instead of having the young injury-prone Phil Jones, who we've had like 10 years, and he's still in his 20s.
But then in 3 years, Alderweireld's gone. We've still got Jones, Smalling, Bailly, Lindelof. We're not replacing people quick enough.
I think Bailly's probably saved his United career by getting injured.
Yeah. We haven't. There's been no suggestion of us selling him so far, though, has there?
When it's concrete news that we've signed these players, everything else is just hype, things to talk up. It's all but total rubbish. We have become a small-minded club thanks to owners and Woodward. Not really. I mean, we used to get linked to everyone back in the day. I mean, you couldn't move for links with original Ronaldo and United. Yeah. And then Adam and Sam spoke to him in Cannes and was like, oh, why didn't you ever come to United? And he was like, there was never in for me.
Yeah. It's always been like that. And at least now we've got the internet to sort of... I mean, obviously that's allowed an absolute wealth of idiocracy just going mad. But it's also allowed us, like the tier system on Reddit, stuff like that. Before you just pick up the paper and trust it. Like now, you know, this guy's no good, this guy's no good.
Yeah,
we can trust
and
this
if it's
guy.
in the MEN, wipe your ass on it.
Yeah, so I think
lads,
that's helped.
I think we've just hit our highest ever amount of live people that are watching a Stretford Paddock video. So one, thank you for that. Two, can you like the video? And I'm not going to... If 900 of you share it, that'd be amazing. But I'm fucking realist and that's not going to happen, is it? So can a few of you share it and see if we can get to 1,000? Because that would be wicked, wouldn't it?
That would be great.
And do you like this format of having a brew? Because we're thinking of doing it every Monday. Potentially. McGinn. The kid from... It's from Villa, isn't it?
Villa.
Know nothing about him.
No.
Rob. Is he any good? Rob says he's world class. Right, so...
This is a Villa fan saying that he's world class.
Rob's a fucking weapon, so we're not going to go with that.
No. He scored a lovely goal the other day.
Yeah.
How much did they buy him for? 4 million or something a year ago?
So 50 million's about right then, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, who knows?
Do we think Fonsu Mensah has a future at United? I don't think so.
I don't think he does.
And I'm gutted at that because as he was coming through, honestly, he was so good. Played as that, like... The phrase I like to use is ratter, midfield ratter, just like gets after stuff, like a little Jack Russell.
Just twisting people's heads off.
The positional discipline of a fucking kite, but like just gets after
just
it.
Uses his physicality and his athleticism to just go and get everything. Yeah, he's so good and strong physically and stuff, but it just seems... I mean, it's unfortunate that he got kicked out of that Palace squad by Wan-Bissaka, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can understand why. Now, he... fuck it. I don't know how much I can say, but
oh my God. What's about to happen here?
He fucked up with... he brought in what are they called? 24/7? Are they called? No, 20... They're called something like 24/7. It's a YouTube channel that does like behind the scenes stuff. He brought them into the Palace dressing room after they'd lost and started like showing me his shirts and stuff.
Fonsu Mensah did that?
Yeah. And the manager walked in and was like, who the fuck are they? And what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And then United got a phone call
saying,
and at the same time Wan-Bissaka was coming through, and that was the end of that at Palace. And something else has supposedly happened at Fulham.
Go on.
But I don't know what.
Oh, right.
Just something.
So do you think maybe there's suggestions of an attitude problem, or that just sounds like
I think it's an intelligence problem,
immaturity thing to me.
Yeah, I think that's that. I mean, in terms of what he does on the pitch, Palace loved him at the start, and he was phenomenal. He was really tackling everything, and I think if you could get him as a Kante-style midfielder and just tell him, whenever the ball moves into your little zone, kill it.
Yeah.
Like,
just pop it. Try and pop it. Yeah. Just run over and stamp on it as hard as you can.
I think because he's an excellent footballer in there. There's an excellent footballer in there and a real driving force midfielder. And I think all you keep it simple with him. He's got a range of passing. He's got a shot on him. He's got all of those things. And he was the fastest player at United at one time as well. So he's got, when you think of the system that we're trying to play, you're like, this is perfect. Yeah. Play him.
Because we are lacking that at the moment, a holding midfielder
with legs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got one.
Yeah.
Who might be a bit unhinged. Yeah. But maybe that's someone to take a punt on. He's at the club. Yeah. Once he gets fit.
How long's left? How long until he's back in training?
For a while. I think he's out for
a while. It was a year, about 3 or 4 months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we're probably not going to see him by the end of the year.
Which again,
Jackson says is a liability, might be.
In the buying mould, he might have saved his career slightly there, though. If he can come back from that before his contract runs out, do you know when it runs out? Maybe he'll have another year.
Yep. Fosu is finished. I don't see him coming back, says Simon. Can we wrap sellotape around Bay? Maybe they'll stay together for a whole game. Bay's problem is, to a degree, what Brian Robson's problem is. That they throw their entire body into tackles.
I was going to say they both love rum.
But he doesn't love rum.
Oh, does he not?
Otherwise, we'd have a great story to tell everyone right now, and we don't.
True. Oh, yeah. You wanted him to love rum, and he didn't.
No, I tried to abduct Brian Robson about, a week and a half ago.
Yeah. We tried to drag him out of a lift back to our hotel room to drink with us. And Dennis Irwin had to intervene.
Dennis Irwin was like rabbit in the headlights. He was like...
I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, he said, I don't like rum.
Yeah, he did. He said, I don't like rum. And I was like, I don't believe you. Come on,
let's go. Come on.
Yeah, so we don't have a on the piss with Robbo story, unfortunately.
So Eric Bailly, then, what?
So I just think Eric Bailly just throws himself, and I think Phil Jones has got an element of this as well, where they just fling themselves into a tackle without any regard for their own safety, and because of that, they get injured.
Yeah, and when you look at Wan-Bissaka, the way he tackles more than anyone I've ever seen, I think. But he has a controlled sort of feel to him. He has like a measured way he does it.
Who does?
Wan-Bissaka.
I thought you said Rojo then.
No.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Because he tackles, but he looks like he knows what he's doing.
He does.
But whereas, like you said, Jones, I'll just put my face in that. And then Bailly's just like, I'll just tackle with my chest, or like, it's too reckless. It doesn't seem to have a coordination to it.
It's very reckless.
Yeah.
It's absolutely reckless.
Mm-hmm. And his body pays the price too often.
Like the video, everybody. We're at 200. Let's try and get it to 500 likes. I know you guys can do that. What's happening with Bruno Fernandes transfer? I'll tell you exactly what I got told, which was United like him, but nowhere near as much as the Portuguese press are having everyone believe. Now, what does that mean? I don't know, because I guess that means we can still sign him.
Yeah.
And I guess it also means that we might not sign him.
It's got a Snyder feel to me. The amount of times where people who aren't that reliable, or who you've never heard of, but all of a sudden are supposedly reliable from other countries, journalists saying it's done, they've signed and then actually no one who we would consider reliable or who are known to break transfers.
I mean Simon Stone. Simon Stone said nothing.
Simon Peach, all these people that none of them have come out and said anything.
No, it's all Portuguese press.
It's all Portuguese press. Supposedly reliable Portuguese press, but then
Portuguese press loves a story, man.
Yeah, exactly.
They love a story, and they love linking United to absolutely everybody.
Yeah.
The worst thing that ever happened was Cristiano Ronaldo at United.
Yeah.
For transfer rumours. It happened. It was good in other bits. The goals were good.
Of course, yeah. The thing I don't get as well, if we're interested in him, supposedly, so that suggests to me that we want someone in that position, we want a central midfielder. Yeah. Who else are we looking at then? Or is it just a case of him or no one? You think it's him or Longstaff? They're two... It's just going to be one of those two, do you think?
Well, and I hope not, because there's more to it. The Moise Keane rumours went dead rapid, didn't they? I don't know if there's any... I mean... I'll just be completely honest with you guys. The only two things I'd ever heard of for this, I heard nothing about Dan James.
No.
I heard about Wan-Bissaka all the way back in March, told the Patreon group, I believe Wan-Bissaka's very near the top of United's list for a right back. That was what I got told. That happened to come to fruition. And a few weeks ago, I think I did a tweet, as the guy said earlier, saying you're going to start seeing some reports of Maguire to United.
Yeah.
There's something in those. But again, you can't ever come out, even if... I'm trying to word this correctly. Someone said to me, start going hard on Maguire to United. Mm-hmm. So I did. And then they went, go harder. And I went, no.
And then they went, Stephen, harder. And you said, I can't go any harder. This is all I've got.
Yeah. I mean, anyway. Oh, right. I was like, I don't want to. Because the last time I did go really hard on anything... fuck's sake.
This is the sexiest chat I've had in a long time.
Was Morata.
Yeah.
Now, the absolute solid gold truth in this one is I speak to Ander Herrera's agent pretty frequently. There's no shot to me that he was going. He's been going for about the last 2.5 years. Right. Every transfer window is like, I think he's going. And the last time I spoke to him, he didn't end up anywhere that he said he was going to end up. He didn't say Paris. But the last time I spoke to him, he's like, I think he's going back to Spain. And then he went, or maybe the MLS, which makes me think that he'd had a specific offer from someone in the MLS. He never mentioned when he was going to Paris. But when we were signing Morata, I spoke to the guy at about 10:30 before I went and did a video at 11 for Devils, and he'd just spoken to Herrera, and Herrera and Rojo was on holiday together, and they'd obviously been talking to Morata, who'd been getting what could be the Bruno Fernandes style treatment now, where United are just tickling his nuts a little bit, possibly waiting for something else to happen.
Maybe there is an agreement with the player already. It could all be lined up. But
there clearly was an agreement with Morata, and then United... And I did this video, like, let's say it was... I don't know what day it was, but let's say it was a Wednesday night, and I'd said, Morata will be a United player by Sunday, because that's what Morata had said to Herrera. That's what Herrera told his agent. Yeah. And that's what he told me. And then the next day we signed Lukaku. Right. So I'm like, no, how about... unless... Even if Ed Woodward himself tells me, you don't know that he's not getting played by the player.
Yeah, exactly. No individual person on a transfer has all of the power or all of the knowledge. No. So anything can break down at any time.
Yeah. Like the player can change his mind after... Like, if you're Ed Woodward, and I go, yeah, I'll sign for you. Yeah. And then last minute I go, I'm fucking signing for them. Yeah. That happens.
Yeah, all the time.
A couple of years ago, there was one that we knew of, which was the Thiago. When was that? Was that Moyes?
It must have been. Yeah, it was Moyes.
I think it might have been Moyes.
I think it was.
He was booked in for a medical. Now, that's one of the last things they do, or they used to do, when they was at the Bridgewater Hall in Moss. Yeah. They don't do them there no more. They do them all in-house at Carrington. But Thiago... it wasn't Thiago Motta. It was Thiago Alcantara. He was booked in for a medical, and they didn't even cancel the medical until he was already signed by Bayern Munich. Yeah. So that was a last minute on us. There was also a couple of other random players that you'd never believe. That was like Frank Lampard was booked in for a medical for United at one point. It was a January transfer window one.
Was this when he went to City, or is this when he was Chelsea?
It was still at Chelsea, well before he moved, yeah. It was while Fergie was still here.
That would have been great, wouldn't it?
We got the inside scoop on Van Persie signing for United because of that. I got some serious amount of shit from Arsenal fans because they was on tour at the time in Germany. I'm like, Van Persie's been booked in for a medical.
I remember that. I remember that story breaking. I was on the tube in London. I don't know why. I can't remember why I was down there. And I just saw it as we went underneath. I was like, I need so much more information and I've got no signal. I was absolutely freaking out.
But like at the time, our little source, if you like, was like, I mean, he don't work there anymore, so fuck it. It was a guy that did the blood work at Bridgewater Hall, and he just texted us like, they've booked in, United have booked in Van Persie. And there was loads that have got booked in. And, there was a City transfer. City had someone like major booked in for one, and it never showed, it never materialised. Yeah. So I imagine that, I don't know at what stage of a transfer happening do they go, okay, now let's put the medical, because there's probably 27 things that have to happen, including photo shoots with the kit, all that sort of stuff. And I wonder at what stage some of them have, like, maybe they had a Lampard 22 printed up, ready to go for the photo shoot, and then it all fell apart. And then I wonder how late a transfers fell apart.
Yeah, and also the journalists who are even, sort of quote tier one journalists, they're, no matter how close to Woodward they are, they're always one step behind. They're always getting the word after it's happened. So, like, no matter who's quoting it, who's saying that it's true, it might not happen.
The player can think it's happening, and the club could have a second target, or he might be the second target. The club can think it's happening, and the player can pull out last minute. The selling club can think it's happening, and the buying club can do what they did with Morata, and it might not be on. There's so many ways a transfer can collapse. Yeah. Simon Stone came up to us, like, you was there anyway, weren't you? It's like, Simon Stone came up to us when we was talking about Tuan Zabi, and he went, he's going on loan, And we was like, is he? And he was like, he's going on loan. I don't think he's going to go on loan now.
No, it doesn't seem like it, does it?
But I imagine when Simon Stone told us, he was going on loan.
Yeah, because it's not. Just anything can happen, can't it? And
I think Bay's knee popping out has probably changed things.
Probably, yeah. We've got too many injury-prone centre-backs, and Axel seems like he at least can... How many games did he get for Villa last year?
Well, he was out for 4 months at one point.
Okay, I take that back. I'll play centre-back. I'm crap, but I don't get injured.
Who would be my ideal double pivot next to Pogba? I'd like Ruben Neves, but I don't know if it'd work. I don't know if it's...
And I don't know if he'd work in the system either, because his mobility is certainly his weakest.
No, I'd say that's it. I mean, sometimes you go... why is he playing McTominay? Maybe because McTominay is the perfect foil for everything else we're trying to do.
I think I'd have Kante if we could have anyone in there. I think it'd be perfect.
Pogba to Real 165 million. That can't be right. I mean, I think
where
that's
are
why
they getting the money from? We have to sell Lukaku to get a centre back that we've needed for 4 years.
I think Real Madrid have got a printing press.
There was a story that came out a few weeks ago that apparently Barcelona are like 700 million euros in debt.
Go on,
but who cares? But let's put us in a bit more debt. Buy loads of good players. That's what I want. Just buy everyone.
Some debt where, like, you get your credit card bill and you go, that was a good week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh my God.
Rather than just like, what am I spending this on? Like we are now.
Ronaldo last night. What have I done? That's what I want.
Ndidi says Max. I'm a big fan of Ndidi.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a big fan of that whole Leicester midfield. I'd love any of that, to be honest. Maddison would come in at that number 10 and be great. Tielemans would come in as a number 8 and be great. And Ndidi would be fantastic as a 6. At this point, Pogba's probably staying this summer. Yeah. I think that's possibly the case. 32 games he played. It's
nice for United to finally have the upper hand on a transfer, isn't it? We don't feel like we're being dragged around.
Yeah.
I think we're saying he's got 3 years left. Either give us 150 million or he's staying. And we want him as well. It's not like Lukaku where everyone can see he doesn't really fit the system. So we've got that counting against us. Obviously, he's got a long time in his contract.
That's them going, you're not going to play.
Yeah, but with Pogba, he fits the system perfectly. I think he fits any system pretty perfectly. He's got plenty of time left on his contract and he's young. He's staying unless we get an absolute crap load of money.
Righty, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys for joining us for this first one of Having a Brew. Don't know who we'll be having a brew with next week. Maybe it'll be Joe. Maybe there'll be a third wheel that joins us. But thank you guys for coming in and asking the questions and all the rest of that sort of stuff. Seems like it's gone down quite well. I think we broke the record for our biggest video by quite a while.
By a margin.
So thank you guys for that. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to Stretford Paddock. We've got all sorts of stuff going on. And we will see you tomorrow for the watch along against Kristiansunds, where we're probably going to watch Marcus Rojo try and decapitate Ollie's son for the Bants. Laters.